In this video, I'm gonna tell you a short history of shells and why we need to learn bash shell specifically. The first major shell was the Bourne shell, also known as standard shell, which was developed by Stephen Bourne. It was located under the bin sh directory. There was also alternate C shell, which was very popular. It was called C shell because it was very close to the C programming language, which basically made the shell easier for programmers to learn. Then there was another shell called Korn shell. It was a combination of C shell and the Bourne shell. However, the main disadvantages of Korn shell is that it's a commercial product. Therefore, it is not much suitable for open source operating systems like Linux. That's why Bourne shell was born again, and they called it Bash, which in full form is Born Again shell. It offered almost every feature that Korn shell had, and besides, Bash was open source, which made it perfect for the Linux environment. Therefore, eventually, Bash mostly replaced the Korn shell and became the default shell on most of the Linux distributions. Right now, many Linux shells exist, but they all derive from the Bash. So you might wonder, if there are many Linux shells, why we should learn Bash? Actually, it is very obvious. The first reason is that all other shells derive from the Bash. But the most important reason is that the Bash is a standard while writing Bash scripts. It means that regardless of what shell you are using, your Bash scripts will be always executed successfully. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a Bash script. But before that, let's change the hostname to something called Udemy. So I'm going to use hostname ctl command, and then provide the hostname command, and you have to give the hostname that you want to change. So it will be Udemy or Udemy in our case. Let's press enter. It changed. I think if we exit and if we open the terminal again, it should be changed. Okay, seems it worked. Now our hostname is Udemy. So I think we can start. Let's create a directory under opt local, and let's say here it will be shell scripts. This will be our directory name, and I need to use the P option because we're creating a lot of directories. Press enter. It cannot create, yes, because we have to switch to a root user. Let's do that. And here you can write again make directory opt local, let's say shell scripts. This is the directory that we're gonna store our scripts. So let's change to this directory local shell scripts. And right now we don't have any files here. Okay, now let's create a shell script. But how we're gonna do that? Basically, shell script is nothing but a text file which contains bash commands. It means that we just need to create a regular file. So I'm gonna create a file touch. Let's say that the file name will be first script. And we can provide sh extension. So this is the extension that is generally used for the bash scripts. However, it's not necessary to add this extension to your scripts because it will work without sh extension as well. But of course, it's the best practice. Therefore, I'm going to use this sh extension here. So our file is created. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open it with Vim editor. Go to the insert mode, and the first line in the shell script will always be shebang character, which is hash and exclamation mark. And then you need to give the interpreter path. So in our case, it will be bin bash. It is because the bash is located under bin directory, and we have to give this path. So in very simple terms, the first line means that whatever commands I'm gonna write in this file, it will open bash and execute those commands. So for example, if you write the Python script, then you're going to give the Python interpreter path. here. For example, in our case it is bin bash, but for the Python it will be, let's say, Python, and usually it's under user bin Python, but we're gonna keep it as bin bash. Let's add some commands here. I'm gonna say echo, which is basically print, so it will print, let's say, this is my first script. If you type echo and then add nothing, it will just print empty line. And let's say echo the current date is, we have date command. I'm gonna write date here, so it will run this date command. Let's save the file. There are two ways to run the script. The first is using the relative path, and the second is using the absolute path. So let's start first with the relative path. So I'm gonna use dot, which is the current directory, then /, and then you have to provide your script name. So it will be first script. It says no such file or directory. Let's do ls. Okay, I saw the mistake that here it is dash, but actually we used this underline. So I'm gonna use dot / first script.sh, and now it gave another error. It says permission denied. And if we check the permission of this file, we're gonna see that we have read write for the user, read for the group, and read for others. So basically we don't have execute permission, but in order to run the script, shell scripts, you have to give the execute permission to your scripts. That's why I'm gonna do that. We're gonna use change mode command. Let's clear the screen. So change mode +X, it means that it will give execute permission for all, I mean for user, for group, and others. And then provide the file name and just press enter. Let's do LSL one more time. Yes, now we have execute permission, and as you see that the file is green now. And if we run it, so /first script, press enter. Okay, it works. It says this is my first script, and there's empty line, and the current date is July 13th, whatever time it is. I'm gonna show you a few things as well. So let's open this file one more time, and let's say we have to give some comments. In bash script you can just type hash, and after hash whatever you write, it will be ignored by the bash interpreter. Let's say that I'm gonna say this script displays the date and time. You might wonder, everything under this hash sign will be ignored. Why we have this hash sign here? So it means that this line will be ignored as well. Of course no, because here this is the interpreter, and you have to keep in mind that this hash and exclamation mark is kind of the just one character. So that's why it's called shebang. And let's do a few things here. So I'm gonna say echo. Let's say it will give us the memory. Sorry, not here, but we're gonna say the memory info. And let's do echo empty line, and after that let's say free-m. So basically all these commands are just bash commands. We're just writing these commands on the bash script. And maybe we can also add some symbols here. Let's say okay, I think that's enough. Let's save the file and let's run it one more time. Yes, seems it works. So it prints the date and then it prints the memory information. Here we just saw that we run the script using relative path, but actually we can also use absolute path. So in order to do that, you can do it this way. Basically, we are in the opt local shell scripts directory, and under this directory we have first script.sh file. And if you give the absolute path, so it will be opt local shell scripts and then your script name. If you do that, it will run the script as well. So I think that's all. If we try to sum up everything, the script is just a text file which contains bash commands to be executed. I think that's all in this video. Bye, and I will see you in the next video. We are going to create a script which deploys the web application on Apache HTTP server. But in order to create the script, we have to know all the steps and commands that are required to deploy the application. That's why in this video we are going to deploy the app manually and write down all the commands. And then in the next video, we will see how to deploy it automatically with the help of bash script. Now I will have a small comment for you. So make sure that in your VM settings, you need to select bridge adapter and Wi-Fi from the network tab. Like previously it was NAT, network address translation, but you have to select bridge adapter and Wi-Fi, and then you can start your virtual machine. Anyway, at first we're gonna start with the manual deployment. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a directory. Let me switch to a root user first. I'm gonna create a directory under TMP and let's call it web app. And let's go to this directory. And now we have to download the files for our web application. For that, we're gonna use one website. Let me open Firefox. There is one website called Toolplate. This is a really great website. Let's open it. Here you have a lot of free HTML website templates. You can choose any of them. I'm gonna choose the first one. We have to get the download link of this template. So let's scroll down. Here we have download link, but we have to inspect to get the full link. And go to the network tab here. And now you can press download button. So it will download the web app and you're gonna see the full link for this zip file. Let's copy this one. And let's download that zip file in our directory. I'm gonna use curl command for that. Curl LO and then paste the link. Press enter. So the file is downloaded. Now we have to unzip this file. For that we need additional utility called unzip. Let's install that utility. So I'm gonna use yum install unzip. Okay, it says this package is already installed, so we have this utility actually. So I'm gonna use it, unzip, then provide your zip file and press enter. It is complete. Let's do LSL. Yes, we have this directory, and under this directory we have all the files that are needed to deploy the web application to the web server. Since we are talking about the web server, we're going to use Apache HTTP server. That's why first we need to install it. So I'm going to use yum install HTTPD. Press enter. It asks for the confirmation for the download. So let me give you a small comment here. When you do manual installation, it's okay to ask for the user input to download the file. However, when we do automated deployment, we don't need any user input, for example, to allow installation of the HTTP server. That's why we can use Y option to install any package without interruption. So let me just do Ctrl+C, and I'm gonna add Y option, so it will not ask for any confirmation. So it is complete. Let's do lsr var www HTML. When you download, when you install HTTP server, this directory will be created automatically. So all we need to do is copy all the web application files to this directory. But before that, I would like to start the HTTP service. So if we do systemctl status, then httpd service, it's not started yet, we're gonna start it. It is started, and I'm gonna also enable this service so that it will start also at the boot time. So let's do enable. Okay, seems everything is okay. Now I'm gonna copy all the files from this directory to this var www HTML directory. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use sudo, or without, we can do without sudo because we are already the root user, but when we create a script we have to use sudo. Anyway, let's do copy. So we are going to use cp command, then recursively copy everything under this directory to var www HTML, and let's press enter. Let's check if it is there. Yes, all the files are located under this directory. Now open your browser and if we type localhost, it should show our website. Great, we see our website. Also, instead of localhost, we can also write the IP address. Let's see what IP address we have. So we have 192.168.0.103. Let's copy this one and paste it in the browser. It will basically show the same thing. Okay, so it seems we successfully deployed a web application to Apache HTTP server. This was the manual deployment, but our main job is to automate it. So let's do that in the next video. Now we are going to create a simple bash script to automate the web application deployment. We already know all the commands that are needed, so I have prepared a text file to note all the steps. So let's start. Let me create a script, but first let's go to the directory that we have created before, shell script. And here I'm gonna create a script. Let's call it web app deployment.sh, and let's open it. I hope you remember what was the first line in the bash script. So it will be shebang character hash exclamation mark and then bin bash. And then we are gonna just paste our commands. So in the notes, the first command is creating a directory, but I think it's better to install all the packages that we need. It doesn't matter actually, but here we just used yum command 2 times. Instead of that, we can use it 1 time. So, and we can do it in the beginning. So I'm gonna use yum. Let's use also sudo here. So sudo yum, because our script can be run as a normal user as well. So yum install unzip, and zip is already installed actually, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Let's just write it in our script. So we have unzip and we have httpd. So I'm gonna list httpd and of course provide the Y option so that it will download, it will install all the packages without any interruption. And after that we can create our script, sorry, our directory. So we're gonna write make directory under tmp web app, and then we have to go to this directory. So change directory tmp web app, and another step is to install the free HTML template. This time I would like to use another template. So let's open our browser, and from tool plate, for example, let's open this one, scroll a little bit to the download button. Let's go to the inspect mode, network tab, and click download. This is the zip file, and let's copy this link. Now we can go to the terminal, and here we have to write curl lo and paste the link. And after downloading the zip file, we have to unzip it. So we're gonna use unzip. Let's copy this file. The next step is, okay, we have start and enable HTTP. We can do it here actually, not after. Sudo system ctl start httpd and sudo system ctl enable httpd. Okay, and the last step is the copying all the files to this directory. But actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove everything like from this directory, because we have some other files there, right? So I'm gonna use rm rf, then remove everything under var www html. We're gonna remove everything, and after that we're gonna copy everything from this directory to HTML folder. And you can also restart the HTTP service. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write sudo systemctl restart httpd. And maybe as a next step, I mean as the last step, we can remove all the files from tmp directory. So we can just type rmrf, then remove everything under this web app directory. So do we have another step? I think no, that's all. Let's save this file. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna give the execute permission. Let's do lsl. Everything is fine. I'm gonna run our script. So we have some errors. It says this is not a directory. Let me open it. I think we need to remove this zip extension because we already unzipped this compressed file. So I'm gonna remove it. Now it should be fine. Let's save it. Let's run one more time. Now let's go to the browser and let's refresh localhost. Yes, it worked. We just deployed another web application to HTTPD server. as you see that it's very easy if you have automated deployment. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some comments to our scripts, because it's possible that someone just look at your file and he or she needs to understand what's happened. So that's why it's always good to just write some couple of commands. So let's do that. First of all, let's give title. Let's say this script deploys web application. And here I'm gonna say install all packages. Maybe you can also give some print statement like installing all packages. And also here we can give another empty line, and we can say that start and enable HTTP. We can say create directory, and then we can print something like creating temporary directory. So basically, like, if you understand, these lines are the comments. So this is for some developers, coders, who will look at your scripts, and all these print statements will be easier to read, like when someone runs your script. So that's why we are adding these lines. Let's say install and unzip the templates. And as a print statement, we can say that installing web app files. And here we can say copy to this directory and clean up. And here we can also say that copy files to server, not server, but let's say copy files to HTTP directory. And also after copy, we can say like restart the service. Not service, but let's say restart the web server. And lastly, we can say clean up, let's say everything. I think that's all. We can save the file. We can run it again. So this time it is more easier to see what happened when you run the script. Basically, when you run it, so it will say installing all packages, then start and enable HTTP, creating temporary directory. You can also just print, for example, after creating temporary directory, you can say that the directory is created, but I think we don't need to do that. And then here we have installing web app files, copy files to HTTP directory, restart the web server, and clean up everything. So that's more easier to read. So that's all about this video. I think you already understand the importance of automated deployment and the importance of the bash script that is really helpful and useful to automate things. So anyway, that's all about this video. I'm gonna see you in the next video. In this practical tutorial, I'm gonna teach you the concept of exit codes in Linux. The exit codes are just numerical values returned by the command execution or program completion. The exit codes range from 0 to 255, where by convention, 0 means the command or the script was successful, and any non-zero value indicates an error or failure. But how you can check that if the command was successful or not? Well, it's so easy actually. There is a shell variable called $? Don't worry if you have no idea what variable means, because you're gonna learn variables in a very detailed way in this course. Anyway, let's say that we run ls command, and right after that we can check the exit code by typing echo $? Press enter. In this case we got 0, which means that the previous command, I mean ls command, was successful. And if we run lsl, let's say for some non-existing file, this file doesn't exist, right? And let's check it. So it says no such file or directory. Basically it gives error. And if we check the exit codes, so the exit code for this command is 2. So it is non-zero value, which means that the command was not successful. Any other non-zero value determined by the developer who developed the command or who invented the command. And in most cases, the exit values associated with errors are written in the documentation of the command, or sometimes you can also find them in man pages. Exit codes are really useful. We're going to use them in our scripts as well. But for now, we're going to create a very simple script to check if the file exists or not. For this script, I will use conditional statements. Sometimes they're also called if-else statements, which we haven't learned yet. But don't worry, because it's really easy. We're going to use it. So let's start by creating the script file. I'm going to say touch, but before that, let me switch to root user. And here I'm going to go to the directory, shell scripts. And here we're going to create our file. Let's call it check file.sh. And let's open it. So imagine that we are creating a very complex script to do provisioning in our Linux servers. And in that script, there's a file that we always need to check if it exists or not before proceeding to provision our virtual machines. So to check the existence of file, we're going to use ls-l. We're going to use that command. But always remember that the script always starts with shebang character. So let's start bin bash. And after that, we're going to run our command lsl. Let's say that the file is located under root, and let's call this file as important file. And maybe I can give additional comment like execute lsl command with the file path, for example. And after that, we're gonna check, let's say check the exit code of the ls command. And this is the place we're going to use if-else statements. I'm going to say if. We're going to use these if statements a lot in our future scripts. But so if I'm going to say $? Which means that the exit code. So if exit code equals to, this means equals. If it equals to 0, then I will say that I will print in the screen the file exists. If it doesn't equal to 0, I'm gonna say that else we're gonna just print echo, let's say the file does not exist, and then just complete your if statement. We're gonna write fy. This complete these conditions. And that's it. We just created our script. I'm gonna save this file. And let's create the important file under root first. Then we're gonna delete it. Important file. And now let's run our scripts. So check file.sh. Seems tab completion doesn't work for me. Well, I guess why? Yes, we have to give execute permission. So +x check file.sh, and now let's run it. check, press enter. Okay, it says the file exists because we just created this file, right? Now I'm gonna remove this file, root, important file. We removed it, and let's run this script one more time. Sorry, I am really sorry. We have to do rmrf. Okay, now it's removed, and let's run. Okay, it says there is no such file or directory, and it also prints that the file doesn't exist. But I think that we don't need to display this information to the user. We just need to display this print statement. So that's why I'm gonna remove this error information, let's say. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open our script. And here, when we run ls command, I'm gonna redirect all errors to dev null. Dev null simply is just a black hole. So whatever you are redirecting to that, it is gone. So we're gonna use 2 and 1. So this means that it will redirect all the errors to dev null, like basically everything to dev null. And let's save it. Now let's run it one more time. Okay, great. As you see that we don't get any error. Actually there is error, but we don't display it to the user. We just display the file doesn't exist statement. And that's better than previous one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check actually the exit code of this script. So we're gonna use echo $? So it says exit code is 0. Actually it's okay because we run the script and script displayed okay, the file doesn't exist. So there is no mistake, there is no error with our script, but there is error when we run the lsl command. That's why it is not good to show 0 here. We have to display non-zero value because the script was not successful actually. There is error, the file doesn't exist, right? That's why I'm gonna adjust, I'm gonna change our script a little bit. Let me open it again. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say if the file exists, we're gonna set exit code to 0, like type exit 0, because if you remember, as I said before, exit codes are determined by the developer of the command. So right now we are developing, we are like creating the script, so we are the developer. That's why we are gonna determine what values should be printed, what exit values should be printed when the script was not successful or if there are some specific errors. That's why we are going to give the exit codes. So if the file exists, it will give exit code 0. If it doesn't exist, it will give, I'm gonna say exit code, let's just say 1. And maybe we can put some comment here like exit code, for example, the script exit with error code, and here the script exit with status code. And that's it. Let's save the file and let's run it one more time. Clear the screen. Let's press enter. So again, there is nothing wrong, the file doesn't exist, that's okay. And let's check the exit code. So the script gives exit code 1, and I think that's better than previous script because right now we have some errors in our script, and that's why it just gave exit code 1. And let's create this file again under root, important file, press enter, and let's run our script one more time. The file exists, and let's check the exit code. So it is 0 because the file exists, there is no error. As you see that exit codes are really useful, and we will also use them in our scripts from time to time. So I think that's all about this video. Bye, and I will see you in the next video. Welcome to new section. where we will learn about variables and arguments. After a few lessons, I will show you how to properly use variables and arguments, and we're also going to substitute some fixed values in our automated web application deployment script. So what is variable? You can think of variable as a symbolic name that represents a value or data. They allow us to store and manipulate data, which makes shell scripting more flexible and powerful. So let's create a variable named OS, and I want to store a data called Red Hat in this variable. So that's it. If we just press enter, we're gonna assign the Red Hat data to OS variable. I'm gonna talk about two types of variables, local variables and environment variables. What we have defined here is local variable, which means that it's only available in the current shell. So let me retrieve this variable. For that we need $, and after that we need to put variable name, which is OS. And in order to print it, I'm gonna use echo in the beginning and just press enter. So it shows the data that's assigned to OS variable. Basically, before I said that local variable is only available in the current shell. What I mean is, if we log out from this shell, let me do exit and log in again, this variable will be gone. I'm gonna use echo OS again. So you see that it says there is no variable called OS. That's why they are called local variables. They are only available in the current shell. We also have environment variables, which are set at boot time, and basically they are available for all shells. For example, if you want to know which shell you are using right now, you can use shell variable. This is the environment variable. Let's do echo $, and then we have this variable shell that is set at boot time. Press enter. It says that our shell is bash, and if we exit from this current shell, I'm gonna do the same command, so shell, and again it says that our shell is bash shell. Basically, this shell variable is available here when the user is root, and it's also available here when the user is Bynix Academy. That's the difference between local and environment variables. There are also other environment variables I can show you. For example, we can do echo hostname to know the hostname, to learn the hostname. So it is Udemy. We can also do Udemy $user. We can also do $pass. This is the pass where we run the commands. Those commands are like search inside these directories. And in order to display all environment variables, you can use environment command, env, press enter. It will show you all the environment variables. And if you notice that environment variables are set by uppercase letters. This is just default option. So one important thing, certainly you should remember, that variables are not case sensitive. So you can write in any case. It is just best practice to set environment variables with uppercase letters. Lastly, let me also show you how to delete variables. The first way that you can do is you reset the variable to nothing. For example, let me show you echo $OS. Okay, this variable is gone already, so I'm gonna use OS equals to Red Hat, let's say. And if we do echo $OS, the variable is Red Hat. I mean the data that's assigned to OS variable is Red Hat. And if I do OS equals to nothing and press enter, I'm gonna do echo OS, it will show you nothing. So basically you can think that it is deleted, but actually we didn't delete this variable. It's there. We just assigned nothing. We just assigned nothing to this OS variable. If you want to properly delete the variable, there is another way. For example, let me create another variable. Let's call it subject equals to mass. Press enter. We do echo $subject. There is mass, And if we properly delete this variable, we can do unset. We can use this command and then variable name. So it is deleted. If we use echo, you will see that there is no variable called subject. Alright, I think that's all. We just had a small introduction to variables. So let's explore how quotes should be properly used in variables in the next lesson. In bash scripting, quotes are used to specify how the shell should treat spaces with special characters such as $, etc. There are three main types of quotes: single quotes, double quotes, and backticks. But in this lesson, we're going to learn only single and double quotes. I will show you what backticks do when we learn about command substitution. I'm going to use echo, just print some statement. Let's say that it will be echo visit YouTube channel bug X. So we didn't use any single quote or double quote. Now let's use single quote. I would like to show you the difference actually. And now let's use double quote. From these examples, you have noticed that there is no difference between single and double quotes. However, imagine that there is a special character and you want to escape it. So let me show you. I'm going to use echo and let's say my home directory is, now we can use the variable. As you remember, we have one variable called home. It prints our home directory. So echo my home directory is this variable, so it will print the home directory. Let's press enter. In this case, we couldn't escape the special character $. In order to avoid the interpretation of anything, we can use single quote. So now I'm gonna use the same line, but let's just use single quote here and press enter. Right now, we just avoided the interpretation of this home variable using single quotes. And let's do one more example. Now I'm gonna use double quotes for all my strings and let's see what will happen. As you can see, it is still interpreted. One easy way is to use backslashes in front of the character that you want to avoid interpretation. So what we can do is, here we can, let me clear the screen. We can delete the single quotes and we can just use backslash and press enter. So it works, but keep in mind that backslash is only used for just one character. If there are multiple characters, we need to use command substitution. Another example I want to show you is using single quotes. For example, let's say that echo, I'm gonna say my, let's use single quote here and let's use my home directory. Home directory is, let's use this variable one more time, but now let's use another single quote. You can also pause this video and think what will happen in this case. Anyway, I'm gonna just press enter. So as you see that the first one, the first home variable, I mean this string, is escaped because it's between the single quotes. So the quote starts from here and ends here. That's why this one is escaped. But second one is not escaped. Do you know why? Because the single quote just ended here, but our home variable is not between the single quotes. The another single quote starts here and ends here, but there is nothing between them. That's why this home variable is not escaped. It means that we really should pay attention to use of quotes because sometimes you can get unexpected results. In this tutorial, we're going to implement variables in web app deployment script. So let me just view this script. Let's first of all go to our script directory. So opt local shell scripts, and we have 3 scripts here. I'm gonna view the web app deployment. We're gonna use variables where its value can be changed. For example, here we install packages, like installing all packages. Right now we have 2 packages, like unzip and httpd. But let's say in the future you will improve this script and you will need to install more than 20 packages. In this case, you can easily store all packages in one variable and just change the value of the variable whenever you need to install an additional package. So I'm gonna exit and I will use Vim to open the file, and we're gonna start writing our variables. The best practice is use the variables in the beginning of the script. I mean defining the variables in the beginning of the script. So let's start from here, go to the insert mode, and let's use our first variable. So let's define our first variable. It will be packages, let's say, and we have 2 packages right now, unzip and httpd. And we can go to here, we can remove these packages and use the variable name. As you already know that as a variable name you have to use $sign in front of it. So packages, and that's it. Then we can also, I think we can also use this service name httpd as a variable, because we use this httpd in multiple times, for example 2 times there, and we can also use it here when we restart the service. So let's use it. I'm gonna say service, equals to httpd, and let's go to here, use our variable name service, also we can create a variable for, I think, temporary directory. Right now we are creating the temporary directory to store our temporary files. You can just change this comment to create a temporary directory, and now we can define our variable. Let's say it will be temp directory equals to tmp web app, and let's use the variable name here. And I think also here what we can use as a variable is this URL, or we can just use the artifact name, considering that the base URL will not be changed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this one, just this one, artifact name as a variable. So let's create our variable. Let's define it here. So it will be 2134 job, and let's replace it with the variable. And we can also change it here because it's the same name. And another place is here when we copy all the files from the directory to our HTML directory. We can also put the variable name here. I think that's it. We already, oh sorry, here we just forgot to put the variable. And also maybe we can also put the deployment directory name in a variable. By deployment directory, I mean the directory where we are going to copy the artifact. For example, we are copying the artifact to this var www HTML directory. What we can do here is we can say this one as deployment directory. and we can define the variable here. And I think that's it. Maybe we can just drop a comment here. Let's say defining all variables. And that's it. Let's save the script. And let me just open the browser to see what we have. Let's open the localhost because our web page is served in the localhost. Okay, it's there. We are using this GoToJob template, and let's go to tool plate. And from tool plate, we're gonna choose another one. For example, let us choose the first one, and I'm gonna use the inspect mode. Actually, we already know that the base URL will be the same. We can just copy this value from the URL section, but let's just use downloads, and I'm going to go to the network tab first and then click download button. So yes, it is the same one. It will be like 2136 cool for pack.zip. This is the same one basically. Let's just copy it. And let's go to our terminal. And here I'm gonna open our deployment script. I'm just gonna change this artifact name to what we have copied. Let's delete this one. And let's paste new artifact name here, and let's save the file. Now we're gonna execute this script. Web app deployment. Press enter. Okay, seems something happened. We just did something wrong. Let's see. It says it cannot find the zip file directory. Maybe we just used the wrong name. Let's check the URL one more time. Yes, guys, we used the wrong name. Actually, in the URL, it is used these underlines, but what we have copied, there's dash actually. So we have to change it. Let me go to the terminal, and I'm gonna edit our deployment script. We're gonna use underline. Now let's save the file, and let's run it one more time. Okay, it seems it was successful. Let's refresh our localhost. Great, it worked, and as you see that we just easily deployed another new application to our HTTPD server. And we just did it using our deployment script, which is automated. So that's why actually variables are very useful, because you can use variable in anywhere where like something is mentioned multiple times, or let's say that in the near future you're gonna change it multiple times. That's where you can use variables, and variables make your script more readable. Sometimes we need to make variables permanent for all users. It means that once you create a variable, it will be available for every user in the system. I'm going to create a variable called Linux distro, and I'm going to set the value as CentOS. And let's print this variable. Sorry, I have used hash sign, but it should be $. Okay, the variable is available for our user, so it is CentOS. However, if we exit this shell and if we log in again, provide the password, and let me just run the command again. So the variable is gone. What happened here is that when we type exit, it will close the current shell, and when we log in again, it will open a new shell. Since we killed the process when we exit the previous shell, the variable is also killed or gone. How we can make this variable permanent then? Let me show you. But before that, I will create a simple script. So let me clear the screen. I'm gonna say vim. First, let's go to our script directory. And here I'm gonna create permanent. Let's see variable.sh. And as always, go to insert mode, shebang character, then bin bash. And I will say echo my current Linux distro is, and here we're gonna use our variable, which is Linux distro. And that's it. Let's save this file. And of course, we need to make this file executable. So change mode +X, then give the script name, and let's do lsl. So yes, it is executable. Let's clear the screen. Now I will define the variable again. So let me just go to the line. Okay, here it is. And if we try to print this variable using echo, the variable is here. And let's now run our script, because we need to see that if the script will read the variable or not. Let's run it. So basically, the script couldn't read the variable because it's not available for that script. So do you know why? Because when the script is executed, it will open a subshell, or we can say a child shell of the parent shell. So since it is considered as a new shell, I mean the subshell is considered as a new shell, the variable which is defined in the parent shell will not be available for the subshell. But how we can make the variable available for the subshells or child shells too? Well, we can simply export the variable. So I'm going to use export and then give the variable name. Press enter. Now the variable is exported, and now let's run the script again. So the script is able to read the variable because it's available for the child shells as well. So what export command does? The export command makes the variable global or permanent for all child shells. If we log out the current shell, let me type exit, and let's log in again. Now let me clear the screen, and let's try to print this variable one more time. Linux distro. You see that the variable is gone. So it was still temporary, although we use the export command. So what we should do to make the variables permanent? For every user, we have hidden bashrc file. Let's do lsa. As you can see, we have this hidden bashrc file and bash profile file. If we place the export command in this bashrc file, it will be permanent for this user. Why it makes it permanent? Because when the user logs in, this file, bashrc file, is sourced. So it will be like source.bashrc. It will be sourced like that. And since you locate the export command in this file, the command will run every time the user logs in. So let's do that. I'm gonna edit our bashrc file, and let's go to the end of line, and here I'm gonna say export Linux distro, and the value will be CentOS. Now let's save this file, and I'm gonna print this variable Linux distro. So it is not here yet because the bashrc file is not sourced. So if you log out and if you log in again, Now let's print it again. So it is here because right now bashrc file was sourced. And I'm gonna switch to Bugix Academy user, and let's see that if this variable is available for this user as well. So I'm gonna use echo $Linux distro. As you see that the variable is not still available for this user. So if you want to make it available for this user, then you have to edit the bashrc file of this user. So if we type lsla, this user has also bashrc file, so you need to edit it. But imagine that in your system you have around 100 users. So does it mean that you need to edit bashrc file of each user? Well, the answer is no, because we have another solution for that. If you want to make a variable global for every user, then you can put variable in the etc profile file. So let me show you. Let's switch to root user. And here I'm gonna edit etc profile file. And here at the end of line, we are gonna set our variable Linux distro, but this time let's set the value as Ubuntu. And now let's save the file, and let's now exit this root user. Actually, let's reboot our system. Let's go to root user, and here we're gonna reboot the system. Our system is already rebooted, so I'm gonna print the variable. I'm gonna use echo $Linux distro. So it prints the variable. The value is Ubuntu, and let's go to root user, and let's print the same variable here. So variable is available, but it prints the CentOS. You can keep in mind that at first the etc profile is sourced, and after that bashrc file is sourced. So this user, Bugix Academy user, doesn't have any variable set in the bashrc file. That's why it takes the value of Linux distro variable from the etc profile file. But for the root user, we have bashrc file, and we just set the same variable in the bashrc file as well. That's why bashrc file is overriding the etc profile file. So if you set the same variable with different values, just keep in mind that the bashrc file will always override the etc profile file. Basically, the point is, if you want to make variable permanent for everyone, put it in the etc profile file. If you want to make it permanent for just one user, put it in the user's bashrc file. So that's all about this video. Let's learn command line arguments in the next video. Hi everyone, in this video I will show you how to create a simple backup script. Backing up your data is a really important step to ensure the security and reliability of the systems. That's why it's a very common script that is used by the system administrators, operations engineers, DevOps, and other IT people. Let me switch to root user, and here I'm gonna create a simple file. So let's say touch opt local shell scripts, and here I will create backup script.sh file. And also let's make this file executable. So I'm gonna use change mode, then give execute permission and to our script, so opt local shell script backup. Sorry guys, it seems here we just missed the C letter, but that's okay, it's just a name. So backup script, now it should have execute permission. Let's open this file and start writing our script. So Vim, I'm gonna use Vim editor. Of course, first thing we have to write the interpreter, so it will be shebang and then bin bash. And now we can start writing the code. So the foundation of any good script lies in the variables. We'll start setting up the variables. So let me just drop a comment here. Let's say defining variables. The first variable will be backup source, and I'm gonna set it to tmp directory. This is the directory or the file that you want to backup. So in my case, it will be tmp directory. And then, of course, we should have the destination directory as well. So I'm gonna say backup destination. So in my case, it will be backups folder. I'm gonna create this folder later. And then we are going to make each backup unique by using the special date format. So let's define a variable. I'm gonna call it backup date, and this variable will store the current date and time in the format of year, months, day, hours, minutes, seconds. So I will use the command substitution here. I'm gonna use $, and then parentheses. So this command substitution actually allows me to execute the command and capture its output. So what command we are gonna execute? It will be date command, not here, inside the parentheses. So date command, and also let's give the format, what format we're gonna use. We are gonna first put the %, and then year, then months, then we should have day, it should be a small letter, then we should have hour, then minute, then second. And let me just put here space. Okay, I think that's it. Now it is time to create a meaningful backup file name using the backup variable. Using the backup date variable. So I'm gonna just define a variable here. It will be backup, let's say file name. So it will start with backup, then underscore, then we have to use our variable, which is backup date. So we're gonna use this variable. So to use the variable, we have to put this $, and after that just provide the variable name. So it will be backup date, and after that we can just give tar.gzip. So this is just usual extension for compressed and archive files. This backup file name variable will hold the name of our backup file, which includes date and the time information. Okay, so we have defined all our variables. To keep things organized, we are gonna create a backup directory inside our backup destination. So here, I'm gonna use make directory command, then provide the P option. So first it will start with backup destination directory. So I'm gonna use backup dst variable, and after that, we're gonna say backup date. This command also ensures that a directory, which is this one, is created if it doesn't already exist. Okay, we can move to the next step. This is where magic happens. We're gonna use the tar command with some flags to compress and archive the contents of the tmp directory into a single backup file. So let's just put a comment here. Let's say archive, and not end, but let's say just archive the source directory. And now let's use our command. We're gonna use tar command, then we're gonna provide czf option. So C is for the new archive, Z specifies the compression type, which is gzip here, and F indicates that the following argument is the name of the archive file. So this argument, so I'm gonna use quotes. We're gonna start with backup destination, and then we're gonna give backup date, and finally you can give backup file name, and also you have to specify the source, so what directory you're gonna backup. So it will be backup source in our case, but it's a variable, we should use this $, so backup source. So that's all actually. We have just completed the script, but maybe as a last step, you can add a block of code which verifies the backup was created successfully. It is just for information purposes. So let me just quickly do that. So I'm gonna put a comment here. Let's say verify the backup was created successfully. Let's say it will be meaningful. And I'm gonna use if statement here. So I'm gonna say if $? So it means that it will check the exit code of this command, previous command, which is this one, tar. And if the exit code is 0 equals to 0, then we are gonna say echo backup was successful. And you can also give the file name. Maybe we can just say backup file name. And if it's not successful, otherwise it will say that backup failed. I think that's enough. So if the exit status of the tar command is 0, then backup was successful, otherwise backup failed. You can also add alerts, like when backup failed, it will send you the email or message, etc. But this is not a topic for this video. Maybe we can do that in another video as well. Anyway, let's test the script. So I'm just gonna save the file and I will run this script. So opt local shell scripts backup script.sh. Let's run this one. Okay, it seems that we have some error in the end of file, syntax error, and it is line number 37. Let's check it. Let me say set number. It will show you the number. So it says we have some errors in line 37. But actually, let me just remove all these spaces. I mean, all these empty lines. And I think I already saw the error. Actually, error was we just missed the fee, because if you are using if statement and when closing the if statement, you have to use this fee. Let's save the file one more time. Let's run it. Okay, it says backup failed. The line 18, the command not found. Let's see what's wrong there. Line 18. Yeah, I see that there should be space actually. So I'm gonna put space here and here as well. Let's save the file. Let's run it one more time. Okay, it says backup is successful and the file should be created. Let's check it, lsl backups. But before actually this directory was not created, but right now it's created. And we have two files here, but we should have one. Let's check if there is something under this directory, backups. There is nothing, but actually our file should be created under this directory, not under backups like this. Probably something wrong with our scripts. Let me check it very quickly. So let's use vim. What creates this tar file? The tar command. So there should be a problem with tar command maybe. Okay, backup destination, backup date, backup file name. Okay, I think we just added another underscore here, but it should be without it, because we have backup date, but we don't have an underscore after date. So let's just remove it. Let's save the file. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna first remove everything under backups. Let me use rf. So it is removed. We don't have anything, I believe. Yes, we don't have anything there. And I'm gonna run the script one more time. Okay, it is successful. And then let's check the backups. Yes, we have this directory, and under this directory we should have the tar file. So we tested our script and it is successful. Now you can also add the script to cron job to run, let's say, for every day at midnight. Let's do that. I'm gonna use cron tab that -e. I will say 00 and then 00. So it means midnight, and every day of the month, every month, and every week. So let's just save, not save actually, we have to of course put the script. So I'm gonna say opt local shell scripts, and under that we have backup script.sh, and let's save it. Installing new cron tab, let's do cron tab -l. We have cron tab here, but let me check the directory. Actually, I think it's wrong. Maybe let me copy it. Yes, we have this script, so everything is okay. But if you remember, when we run the script, we have some errors. I mean, let me just run it one more time. I will show you. So we have this error flight. We just need to ignore these errors, but we can also send all the error output to dev null in the cron job as well. So let's edit cron job one more time. So let's say send all errors to dev null. This is how you send all the errors to null. Anyway, let's save the file. Let's check the cron tab. Yes, we have this cron job. I will run the script one more time just to see if the directories are created there. It has nothing to do with cron job, but I'm just gonna see the files actually. So lsl backups. Yes, we have 3 backups right now. So feel free to customize this script for your own needs, and do not forget to test it before using it in a production environment.